Yeah.
You want to like him, but you can't.
Are you listening? Yeah.
You want to like him, but you can't.
Are you listening?
You want to like him, but you can't.
Are you listening?
What?
Are you listening?
What?
Are you listening?
Did you bring me on this show to insult me? Did you bring me on this show to insult me?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Hey, y'all don't want it with us, man. You straight gangsters. Hey, y'all don't want it with us, man. You straight gangsters over here.
And good morning. How's everybody doing out there?
Hey, I'm
Chris
good, man.
America.
What
How
was
you
going
doing,
on
sir?
with what was going on with the intro, or is it just on my end?
No, I think I played it twice. I wasn't getting it feedback back on my end. There was a headphone issue. But, hey, we're live, and that's what happens when you go live. Sometimes you do not get all the perfectness that you get when you get a recorded podcast. But we are the Scout Team. We're coming at you live. It is August 28th, a Tuesday. I am one of your gracious hosts, Loudbeard. That's right.
You are the most egotistical, self-deluded person.
And next to me, across from me, is the one, the only, and when I say across from me, it's across the internet, is...
Yeah, that's right. It's your boy, Chris America, coming to you live on 12 Ounce Sports Radio at 6:02 a.m. in the morning. That's 06:02 hours if you're in the military. How you doing, Kyle?
Hey, man, I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
You seem a little off this morning. You seem a little off the groove.
No, it's not that. It's just my headphones stopped working, and so I don't hear the intro, or I don't hear... I can hear you talking because I've got a separate earbud for that, but I can't hear myself talking or the intro music. So that's throwing me off. I'm getting that worked out, and I'm going to be all right because you know what? We're here in the morning every AM, Monday through Friday on 12 Ounce Sports Radio, and that is one of the greatest things in the entire world because we get to sit here every morning, talk about our favorite thing in the world, which is sports, and there's always plenty to talk about. Don't you agree, Chris America?
I agree. Should we throw out Anthony's Golden Mike intro?
Is Anthony on board? Where's he at? You coming, Anthony?
Hey, I'm just here so I won't get fined. Hey, I'm just here so I won't get fined.
Yeah, hey, we summoned him. That was the summoning.
Yeah, you
so
gotta play
see
it.
what happens.
You gotta play it 3 times. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do that today, but you know we'll get that figured out.
Well, let's roll on without him. You know, you talking about you had headset problems. My mixer looked like it was plugged in, but I guess the wire became just loose enough to where it wasn't. So I gave a quick little mic test right before you hit the intro. And so I had a little freak out moment as well as I was trying to figure out why my mixer wasn't working. But we're all good. We're here. We're live on 12 Ounce Sports Radio. We have a ton of stuff to talk about. Manu Ginobili retires. Florida Gators and Florida State announced their starting quarterbacks. Alabama still hasn't announced theirs, and a whole lot more going on. So you saw Manu Ginobili retired, right?
Manu, yeah. You know, he's a Spurs legend. He's one of the guys that was part of that trifecta with him, Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, all those great championship years with Pop over there in San Antonio. And the guy just deserves a lot of credit. He was always a great international player. And he was from Argentina. He brought a lot of recognition to his national team. And he always performed at a high level in the NBA. And he's one of those guys that he was on as a sixth man most of the time. So he wasn't what we would consider to be one of those starter, best player on the team type guys like a Tim Duncan was. But he was definitely a great, absolutely great player and ambassador for the NBA. And, you know, I believe he is going to be a surefire Hall of Famer. I know there are a few people out there that probably have a different ideology behind that, but you know, I'm just saying this is a good guy. He knows what he's doing. He's great.
Basketball has the lowest, I guess, requirements to get into the Hall of Fame because they take in your entire basketball career. Like you said, he did the Olympic stuff. They take in your college, they take in your high school, and they take in your NBA. I don't know enough about him on the college, or I don't even know if he went to college or if he came from overseas. I don't know what his Olympic stuff is because I really don't pay attention to Olympic basketball. I'll watch for like 5 minutes, kind of like when you're flipping through the channels and you see the Harlem Globetrotters on TV. You'll watch it for 5 minutes because it's entertaining, but you know who's going to win. It's going to be a blowout win. That's the way it is with USA basketball usually, unless it's 2004. But so I didn't really watch him for whatever country he played for. But looking at his career stats, it's not that great for the NBA.
Yeah, he again, he isn't the best player on the team. He isn't one of those guys that jumps off and just is a stat machine or a scoring machine or anything like that. But he was always a great teammate, always a great player. He was big in big moments. He was always in the fourth quarter for the last few minutes of the game. He was one of the guys they could count on, and he has a lot of championship rings. So when you take those things into consideration, you definitely have to consider him to be one of the all-time greats in the NBA. Now, I see where you're going with that, where when you look at Hall of Famers, you think the guys that are like your Michael Jordans, LeBron James, Wilt Chamberlains, these guys are all-time great guys. Manu Ginobili's never going to be in that category, but he is in that should be in the Hall of Fame category, and he's in that, it's a little bit more of a fringe than these other guys, but I definitely think he deserves it. And it looks like the internet and the world is showing him a lot of love, and I appreciate that because I think he is a really great guy, a really great player. I don't know him personally, obviously, but I do think that what he has done for the NBA is deserving of praise.
Yeah, it's tough because like you said, he was a sixth man. Do sixth men do role players have a place in the Hall of Fame? I don't know, man. I mean, I think we need like a Hall of Good, or maybe like a sixth man Hall of Fame, role player Hall of Fame. It's just you hate to not put a guy like Manu Ginobili into the Hall of Fame. But at the same time, if Manu Ginobili was on any other team but the Spurs, would he have the 4 titles?
No, probably not. But you can play that what if scenario wherever you go. You can say that about anybody. What if Michael Jordan didn't have Scottie Pippen? Would he still have been the Michael Jordan that we know today?
He might not be the 6-0 in the finals, Michael Jordan, but he'd still be the guy who scored 40 points. In the playoffs, 60 points here, 40 points there. Like, his stats would have still been the same.
He'd be like LeBron James is what you're saying.
Pretty much, maybe 3-9. I don't know. We'll see. But we'll never know. But what I'm saying is Michael Jordan didn't just get in because he won the finals 6 times. Just like Dan Marino didn't win a Super Bowl, but he's still in the Hall of Fame because he got in on his own merit. But maybe a guy like Trent Dilfer doesn't ever get in the Hall of Fame because he didn't get on his own merit even though he won a Super Bowl. Does that make sense?
100% it makes sense. And, NBA definitely has a little bit looser guidelines. So I'm going to just...
it's not the NBA Hall of Fame. It's the Basketball Hall of Fame, like I mentioned earlier. Yes. Then again, when I look at football, I hate that there are no kickers in the Hall of Fame. I feel like there are like 1 or 2? I feel like there should be at least 10 kickers in the Hall of Fame because if you were a fantastic kicker, your position is important to football, even though people don't think kickers are people too. In football, I get that. But in basketball, especially in today's game, there really are no positions. Like, there's just really 1 through 5.
Yeah. And with the kicker thing, I think punters get crapped on the most. Those guys, I think there's 1 punter in the Hall of Fame. I'd have to double check that stat, but I know Ray Guy is. But other than that, you don't see a lot of punters getting any recognition, and it's a position on the field. So you're going to have like 50 quarterbacks and then hardly any punters, kickers, anything like that. Anyway,
yeah. Punter is one of those positions where if you don't have a good one, you realize it, and it really sucks for your team. It really does. Like I love when Florida has a good punter. When you can flip the field and pin a team down onto the 5-yard line, I get pumped When I see that we down the ball in the 5-yard line, I get pumped because I'm like, okay, here we go. Safety or 3 and out. We'll get the ball around the 40 or 35-yard line. Let's go.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That
Hey,
I'm telling you, that makes such a big difference. You change the field of position,
Yeah.
everything works out perfectly, and it's just that's how it should be. You should have that, and that I think is important. So, in Manu Ginobili, he's like the punter of the NBA. We'll go with that. Let's just do it.
Okay,
That's what he is.
I can kind of see that. Why don't you play Anthony's theme music one more time, see if he comes back?
I think I could probably do that one more time.
Hey, I'm just here so I won't get fined. Hey, I'm just here so I won't get fined. I'm just here so I won't get fined.
Anthony, you there? Still no more man with the gold ring. Hey, all you listeners right now, why don't you tweet at Mac Scout Team? Once again, that's at Mac, M-A-C-K, Scout Team, all one word, and say, hey, Mac, wake up. Tweet at him right now. Let's flood his Twitter, telling him to get up and get on the show.
Yeah, I agree. Get out there, make your voices heard. Hey, there's somebody else on Twitter that I just want to give a little bit of a shout out to.
No, you mean Miss America? Don't try to get me in trouble by giving her a shout out, and I didn't.
Oh, no, I am not trying to do that. But you can go ahead and give her a shout out if you would like. I was not planning on giving her a shout out, but maybe I should have just to get you in trouble. That sounds like a good idea.
I thought that's where you were going because she did tweet at us, Miss America, tuning in at the gym, day 2. She's up early, doing her running thing, training for her Chicago Marathon.
Oh, good for her. She's a classically trained runner, so that's good stuff. So anyway, I wanted to give some love out to Sean Bednard. He yesterday was the recipient of a $50 Amazon gift card. Our station, 12ouncesportsradio.com, was having a little contest going on. First person to call in or reach out to one of the live shows on our inaugural relaunch of 12-Ounce Sports Radio was given the opportunity to win a $50 gift card. Sean was sliding into our DMs yesterday, wondering how he could call in. He was trying to get all of he was calling the station, doing all this stuff. And you know what? We went live for the first day, and we weren't taking calls the first day or opened up the text line because we were just trying to get our opening act going. So we gave him credit for being the first person to reach out, try to get on the air with us. And you can reach him on Twitter at CallMeBednard if you would like. He is a big listener to the show, big fan. We're day 2 of the morning show. We got to have big fans already. So, Sean, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening in. He also gave us props on the show, so I got to like this guy. So if you want to hit him up on Twitter, it's at CallMeBednard. And we are the Scout Team. This is Scout Team Sports. So you can always hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Scout Team Radio. We love to get social, and we want you guys to always check us out. That is one of the best things about being on this radio station and on this radio show is we can interact with our listeners, and we can get involved with the sports world. And that is one of the things that I enjoy the most. All right, Chris America. I think we've Manu Ginobili ourselves to death. Definitely have a lot of things we've got to cover in the sporting landscape. I know the next topic that is probably the biggest sports news from yesterday. OBJ getting a huge contract.
Oh yeah. You read my mind because I just pulled up that story to look up the deal to get the whole thing. It's a $95 million deal. It's $90 million base value plus $5 million in incentives with $65 guaranteed. Including $41 million fully guaranteed at the signing. So could you imagine signing?
Wait. How much did you say that was? How much did you say that contract was?
$95 million in total.
Your Honor, it was unbelievable. You understand?
I don't know if I think this is believable. $95 million for a wide receiver. Do you think that this guy is worth it, Chris America? This is the debate. Is he worth the money that he got paid? What do you think?
Emphatically, yes. There is no denying that OBJ deserves every last penny of this, and this is why. He is probably one of the most recognizable players. I would say he's probably top 5 most recognizable player. Like if OBJ walked down the street, 9 out of 10 sports fans know who this guy is. It helps that he has the unique hair, the unique look, the unique style, but people know who he is, and he's electric. He's a guy that people tune into. You see the Odell Beckham and the New York Giants are playing whoever in the Dallas Cowboys, Ezekiel in the Dallas Cowboys. OBJ is the leading headline. Nobody's really saying, come see Eli Manning and the New York Giants. Maybe Saquon Barkley might be able to steal that thunder this year. We'll see, but he hasn't yet. So when you think of Giants, you think of OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr. Then you take the fact that he plays in New York City, one of the largest sports towns in the world, and that means you got to pay that guy. If he's the most recognizable guy in one of the largest sports towns, if not the largest sports town in the world, I don't know if LA's bigger. I don't have a census in front of me right now, but it's definitely top 2 or 3. You got to pay that guy money. Some people are like, oh, he hasn't won any titles, he hasn't done this, he gets injured all the time. But football is not just about winning titles. It's all about getting people to tune in and watch. And then my last reason why, and I'll let you give your thoughts, is fantasy football. Everybody's going to have this guy on their roster. Everybody's looking for him in the first round. And what do you do when you have guys on your fantasy football team, Kyle?
You cheer for him. You watch him.
You cheer for him. You watch him.
You go for him.
You tune in. If you don't have OBJ on your roster, you're not going to watch. But if OBJ is on my roster and I know that I'm 10 points down on Monday night and the Giants are playing on Monday night, guess what I'm doing on Monday night?
You watching Monday Night Football and you are cheering for the Giants and you're all in on OBJ.
Exactly. So everybody's like, oh, is this guy worth it? He hasn't won championships. Sometimes it's not about winning championships. It's all about how much money do you bring into your team and to the NFL. And I think he will bring in that much money and then some. And he already has brought in $95 million to the NFL.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I've kind of loosened my stance a little bit on these giant contracts because each and every year they get bigger and bigger. So yes, he's the most highest paid wide receiver, and yes, he's going to be. It is a lot of money. The Giants are committing a big amount of financial stability to him, and he is injury prone, and all those things you said. I agree with all of those things, but I think that when we look back 3 years from now, it's not going to look like a big number because every year there's going to be 2 or 3 guys that get these big contracts. When Joe Flacco signed his contract, 4 or 5 years ago, we thought it was unbelievable that the Ravens were paying Joe Flacco the highest amount in the NFL as a quarterback. Since then, every year, even this past year, Kirk Cousins got a huge contract. Jimmy Garoppolo, we talk about all these quarterbacks. All these guys are getting paid, and Odell Beckham is one of these superstars, top 5 at his position. As long as he stays healthy, he's going to be selling a ton of jerseys. Totally worth it. Which brings me to another point that I want to bring up to you is when are the Rams going to pay Aaron Donald? Because this is something that's been dragging on. Now, I've seen speculation out there that this guy could get an $80 million extension, but the deal is not done yet. The defensive player of the year last year, arguably the best defensive player in all of the NFL. And the Rams, now that OBJ has been signed by the Giants, do the Rams need to pull the trigger and sign Aaron Donald?
Yeah, I think so. I'm looking at a Pro Football Talk on NBC Sports. They say that it's nearing. I don't know what that means, but this story was posted 7 hours ago, so late last night. McShay said they talked to him last week. That there's good dialogue, nothing specific about money or contract, but it sounds like things are heading in the right direction. Where when you look at Khalil Mack, I don't see any update on that story. And at least McVay is at least talking to Donald on the phone, where Mack and Gruden, last I heard, haven't even talked to each other.
Yeah, the Khalil Mack thing, to me, is bewildering. The Raiders need to figure out this guy because he's another great player. Now, he's not to the caliber of Aaron Donald, in my opinion, but he's pretty close. And the last actual report I heard, the Raiders were open to the idea of possibly trading Khalil Mack, which basically means, hey, we're putting it out there to the NFL. If you have any good deals to send us, we would look at it. we're going to look at your trade offers. It doesn't mean we're going to take them, but we want to see what we can get for this guy. And if we can get something good, maybe we can better our team. So that's the last I heard. The Khalil Mack situation does not seem like it's getting resolved anytime soon. But you're right. I think Aaron Donald's going to be done soon. He was ready for the start of the year last year. They want him ready for the start of the year this year. And this thing's just got to happen, man. Just got to happen.
Yeah, you like to see all of your players signed and in the locker room come September 8th, I believe, is the start of the week. September 8th, September 9th is week one. So you'd like to see all your guys in there. I'm looking at a video right now. They're comparing Donald and Khalil Mack. I mean, Donald has more reason to complain than Mack this year coming up. His 2018 salary for Donald is $6.9, where Mack is going to see $13.8 million. Their career stacks are almost equal. Donald with 39, 40.5 for Mack. Donald has more Pro Bowl selections and more first all teams with 4 and 3 respectively to 3 and 2 for Mack. And these are the two back-to-back defensive players of the year. Donald won it last year in 2017, and Mack won it the year prior in 2016. So, both of these guys deserve to be paid, but, like you said, Donald's a little bit better, and he's getting paid half of what Mack is going to get paid next year.
Yeah, Aaron Donald deserves the extension. That's why I think it's close, because the Rams know they cannot go into this year without this guy, and they've already paid some other guys. They gave Brandon Cooks a giant contract. They took care of Todd Gurley. Now it's the time to take care of the defensive side of the ball. Get your guy in there, Aaron Donald. He is your anchor, and make it happen. So I definitely think that is something that will be done by the end of the week, and it is a priority on Rams' list. It is number one. They've got to take care of it.
And I think they will. It sounds like everything's confident. I don't know. I don't know what to do with the NFL, because I think their pay structure is ridiculous. I think it's crazy that Sam Bradford is making more than all of these top players at other positions when he's like, I talked about, I give a whole spiel about why OBJ deserves it, because he brings in so much money. I don't know how many Arizona fans are like, man, I need to go get my Sam Bradford jersey. I need to go see Sam Bradford play. I don't know anybody who tunes into Monday Night Football just to watch Sam Bradford. And yet he's one of like, top 15, top 20 paid players in the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at how much money he's earned over his career and his actual production, I would say it's the biggest lopsided amount in the history of the NFL.
Yeah.
So Sam Bradford is absolutely ridiculous. Now, somebody that is worth the money, and I'm not even talking contract-wise, just in general, because he's an overall great guy, is Blake Bortles. Now, Blake Bortles, to me, is one of the greatest NFL quarterbacks of all time, and not just because of what he does on the field, which that is a very significant part of it, but he's doing stuff off the field. Now, the Blake Bortles Foundation, they went ahead and donated meals and took care of all of the first responders to that Jacksonville shooting. I don't know if he was firsthand involved with it. I'm assuming he was. But I know the foundation is what spearheaded this. But just hearing that Blake Bortles was out there supporting the community and making sure that those people were taken care of that were supporting this horrific event. Now, I saw that EA Sports has already canceled upcoming Madden tournaments that were supposed to be happening here shortly. I don't blame them, because you want that to be you want this to go away. You don't want there to be any other incidents. You don't want any of that. But Blake Bortles is really doing a great job in the community. And I also saw a video circulated on the interweb where he was giving the good old national champion UCF Knights a rah-rah speech and saying, "Go Knights, get ready for the season." And when you see your man, Blake Bortles, UCF legend, out there supporting your college and going supporting the community and being a great player on the field, to me, this guy, he is tops in my book.
Yeah, which, since you mentioned the UCF thing, if you're listening in the Orlando area, Thursday night is kickoff night for UCF. They take on UConn, and UConn join us at Red Eye Sports Tavern in Winter Springs. We're going to be there from 6 to 7. We're going to host a live show. If you're not in the Orlando area, make sure you tune in to 12 Ounce Sports Radio at 6 p.m. Eastern. That's 3 p.m. Pacific time. Not sure what time that is in Hawaii, but you'll figure it out if you're in Hawaii. So make sure you listen in. Make sure you come out and support the UCF official national champions. We told you all winter long, all spring long, and all summer long, UCF was legitimate national champions. We know Anthony was their biggest fan, cheering them on, leading the argument charge. And this past weekend, they dropped the record book to the media. We got it as well. And UCF national champs listed in the record books right underneath Alabama. So Alabama and UCF co-national champions. We're going to celebrate that Thursday night, and you should come on out.
Oh, man, absolutely. This is going to be a great event. And, you know, the whole NCAA putting UCF in as national champions, we knew that was going to happen. We've already been talking about this forever. It's finally official, so that is a good thing. So we want to make sure that we are out there celebrating the true co-national champion, whatever you want to call it. I'm not taking anything away from Alabama. I'm just giving UCF the credit that they deserve. All right, hey, Chris America, one last thing before we go to the commercial break involving the NFL. I did want to throw this in. On Tuesdays, I want to start doing a quick...
Taco Tuesday?
Not Taco Tuesday. I like Taco Tuesday, and I'm sorry I had a quick pause there. I was looking down at some text messages. I need to get better at multitasking. But
Truffle Tuesday?
How about Trending Tuesday? So I was looking around on Twitter and on the internet, and there's a lot of topics trending out there. But I want to say that one of the big topics trending right now is there was a Tom Brady interview yesterday, and I'm going to go ahead and just play that interview for you real quick because I think it's kind of good to hear Tom Brady getting pissed off at some other sports radio guys. I do want to give credit to where it is here. This is from WEEI-FM, which is the Boston Sports Talk Radio. This was the Kirk and Callahan show, so just listen in here.
Sorry, Evan, 1 second. So we saw the reports this weekend that Alex was on the team plane, which he wasn't for the second half of last year, I guess, and not on the sideline. Is that accurate?
Yeah, he was with me this last week, so it was, yeah.
So what changed in him not being on the team plane last year and this year? Was that just communication back and forth, or was that an understanding of other things? What led to that being able to happen this year?
I'm not getting into all that.
Come on,
okay.
Tom. When
I ran into him at the Super Bowl last year in Minneapolis, I remember talking to you about it at the time. When I talked to him there, he had said in his opinion that all this stuff had been overblown, that he and Belichick actually had a pretty good relationship even then. Would you say that was true?
I said I don't want to get into it.
Long pause.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, everyone knows, it's well documented how, the work that he and I do together.
No, I know. I understand that. I'm just trying to figure out, because I saw the reports this weekend that he's traveling with the team. Was he on the sideline on Friday?
Yeah. All right, guys. Have a great day. I'll talk to you later.
Peace out. The GOAT out.
Okay.
I'm out.
I guess that's...
I'm out. So, Brady's sitting there. The uncomfortable pause, the uncomfortable silence, I do not want to be talking about this dude. This has already been... And the guy just goes on, and you could just tell. He's like, I'm the GOAT. You don't ask me questions I don't want you to ask me. You know what, guys? Have a great day. I'm out. Peace.
Yeah, so before an interview, I think they send out a list of things not to talk about, and I'm pretty sure that's one of them. But this is a bad look, Tom, and you are better than this, man. Like, you can handle a pass rush, but you can't handle a couple of questions from some radio guys. I don't know. I never understand when celebrities and athletes crack under this kind of pressure, if you want to call it pressure. Learn how to BS your way through it. Learn how to give out the simple PR answer of like, we have a great relationship. Bill Belichick made the coaching decision. I respect his coaching decision last year. He wanted us to focus on just winning the Super Bowl, and he wanted to get rid of all of extra distractions that are on the sideline. Wanted to make it more about the team. No outside personnel allowed. And I think it would have just gone away and be like, this year, me and Bill had a conversation over the summer. We talked about, some more rules and regulations for my trainer, and we worked it out, and everything's fine now. And then I think that would have ended the conversation if he would have handled it like that.
Yeah, he could have definitely handled that better. This was very un-GOAT-like, but in my eyes, Tom Brady will always be the GOAT.
No doubt.
It's hard for me to say that, but even with bad interviews, he is still always going to be the GOAT. With that being said, Chris America, we're up against the commercial break, so we're going to have to curb this conversation, pick it back up on the other side, and when we get back, we will talk about how the male aficionado is not living up to his expectations as our WNBA correspondent. Stay with us. Quick commercial break. We'll be back on the other side. Thank you.
When I'm working hard, I build up a thirst for sports. That's when I grab a cold 12-ounce sports radio. 12-ounce sports radio. Quench your sports thirst.
Oh, guess who it is? Did you know the station had a janitor? Oh, yeah, the Hefe, otherwise known as Beck. And it's Beck's Work Week in Review live on 12-ounce sports radio every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Catch interviews, special guests, and the recap of the week's news and headlines and box scores and results. It's Beck's Work Week in Review live on 12-ounce sports radio.
Scout Team listeners and friends of the show, I've got something special for you. It looks like 12-ounce sports radio has done it again. We have partnered with Rally House. You just go to the website 12ozsportsradio.com. Click on the banner on the right side of the page, and it will take you directly to Rally House. Rally House has some of the greatest, most unique sports items for that diehard fan, casual fan, and anybody and everybody out there that is special in your life. So go ahead and check it out. Once again, go to that website, 12ozsportsradio.com. Click on the banner to the right of the page, and you will get taken to the best sports merchandise website on all of the interweb. Do you own a small business? Are you looking for solutions to all of your communications problems and challenges that you have? Check out Ring Central. Give them a call. They have partnered with 12ouncesportsradio.com to give you the best rates on all of your business and office solutions for communication. Give them a call today. We have a dedicated line for all of the 12-ounce sports radio listeners. It is 1-877-779-3860. You will get a representative on the phone who will help you with all of your small business communications needs. Once again, give them a call today, 1-877-779-3860. Oh yeah, now we are back from that quick commercial break. It is good to be back. You are listening to Scout Team Sports. We're coming to you live each and every day. Today is Tuesday, August 28th, and we are excited to be on your airwaves, but not just us here at the Scout Team. We also have this great radio station that you should be listening to right now. That is 12ouncesportsradio.com. We have a fantastic lineup ahead of you today. We've got Clutch Talk Sports coming on at 8 a.m. It's from 8 to 10. Clutch Talk comes over from Sports Radio America, which is an affiliate of ours, another amazing radio station. We also have, coming up later today, College Credit Hour Live, our good friend Memphis Spence. That is at noon. Again, another Sports Radio America show. And then rolling later in the day, 2 p.m., Rehab Sports Guys, and all these times are in Eastern Standard Time. When you're on the internet, we have people listening in all over the world. So this is Eastern Standard Time. Rehab Sports Guys live coming on at 2 o'clock. We've got Bar Down Radio, Stick and Rink later in the day. Family Divided on at 7 p.m. and Captain Lou's, which is a new show to the station. We're excited about their premiere coming in tonight at 8 p.m. So a lot of great stuff going on at the radio station, and I am excited to be a part of the future of sports radio, which is known as 12-ounce sports radio. Chris America, are you excited?
I am very excited, and we have to offer a mea culpa to the Rehab Sports guys. On our Wednesday show last week, we said they were all Dallas Cowboys fans, and that's very offensive because they have a Titans fan and a Steelers fan. And I know, for one, if somebody called me a Cowboys fan, I'd be highly offended, and I'd be very upset about it because, I mean, you can't call anybody anything worse than what it's like to call somebody a Cowboys fan.
Yeah, just because there's one of them over there, it almost the stink of one
two.
Cowboys fan.
Is it one or two?
I know
I think
Ian.
Jimmy's from. Yeah, I think Jimmy's from What's Up Sports, and he joins their show sometimes, so it makes it seem like there's two.
All right, so Jimmy from What's Up Sports, and then Ian from the Rehab Sports guys. When there's just one or two of these Cowboys fans, it stinks of so bad that it almost covers the aroma of all the other fans in the room. And so we just kind of put them all together, and that wasn't really fair to the other guys. So we want to go ahead and give out our apologies to all the Rehab Sports guys that are not Dallas Cowboys fans, because we don't wish that upon anybody. It is never a good look to, call someone a Cowboys fan when they are not.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know why anybody would want to be a Cowboys fan voluntarily also, but hey, some people are gluttons for punishment, I guess.
That they are, for sure, Chris America. All right, man, I've got several different directions I could go here. I think I'm just going to roll. You can roll with me, Chris America. I don't know if you've got anything specific you want to cover here, but I'm excited. U.S. Open is going on right now. Tennis doesn't always get the love that it deserves. It's becoming a little bit of a dying sport in America because on the men's side, we just haven't had any superstars. But on the women's side, we've got Serena and Venus, which, we're big fans of Serena here on the show. You and I, we love Serena. Anthony Mack, I think he once told me he thinks she's terrible. I didn't get it on the record, but I'd love to one day. But Serena and Venus both advanced in the first round of the U.S. Open. The number one seed on the women's side, she actually goes down. So we've got a little bit of an early upset. Simona Halep, who is the number one seed in the women's side of tennis on the U.S. Open, she gets defeated early by Kai Kanepi. I want to make sure I say that correctly. I probably still butchered it. But Kanepi defeats Simona in a big upset. But nobody really cares because Serena and Venus are where we're looking at. Also, we've got on the men's side, Nadal advances. He's the number one seed. And Djokovic is on today at 2 o'clock. So we're definitely going to have some exciting U.S. Open information coming up here. Also, now that we're talking women's sports, Serena bringing it up, Anthony Mack, our male aficionado on the show, I hope he's listening in right now because we deemed him the WNBA correspondent about a year ago when we were rolling with our...
He deemed himself.
Oh, you know what? You were right. I thought we deemed him that. No, you're right. He said the WNBA doesn't get the love it deserves, that he was going to go ahead and be the WNBA correspondent and give it the love it deserves. Since he said that, I don't think he's once even mentioned the WNBA, and not that I talk about it a lot because I know it isn't as popular as these other sports, and we're going into football season, but I'm going to give it its 30 seconds of fame. They named their MVP of the season. It's Breanna Stewart. When they named her on Sunday the MVP, she was 23 years old. Yesterday, she turns 24 years old, and her team, the Seattle Storm, win Game 1 against the Mercury, and they're playing Game 2 tonight. Also, in the other semifinals of the WNBA, you've got the Mystics versus the Dream. The Mystics win Game 1, and they're playing Game 2 tonight. So WNBA action. If you're into that, which there are a little bit of people out there in the world that do like the WNBA, make sure you tune in tonight. We've got the semifinals going on, so that's the WNBA report. Anthony, I'm making you look bad. Again, I hope you're listening in.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's not here today. He said he had headphone troubles, so he's listening in. He's tweeting at us. He's talking about how, Tom Brady's not the GOAT, but yet he won't let Aaron Rodgers leave Green Bay to go to New England to prove us wrong. So if you guys want Aaron Rodgers to be the GOAT, you guys got to let him go. You can't sit there and say, oh, well, Green Bay is the one holding him back, and then be like, well, we don't want him to leave. Sounds like kind of like a hostage situation there, if you ask me.
Yeah, it does sound like a hostage situation. I mean, I don't know about you, but I feel like Aaron Rodgers' legacy would be just forever and just etched into the top of quarterbacks if he goes to New England and wins several championships. But we'll get back to that later. That's a theory.
Yeah. I mean, it's the only way that we can prove that it's Bill Belichick making quarterbacks great, not Tom Brady. But since we were supposed to have him on today, we were going to talk about Florida and Florida State made an announcement yesterday about their starting quarterbacks. They basically went with the same two guys they started at the beginning of last season, which is Felipe Franks for Florida and DeAndre Francois for Florida State. DeAndre Francois, we all know he went down with the injury during the Alabama game, tore his ACL or MCL, one of those knee things. And Felipe Franks just got torn down by terrible coaching. And so no surprise. I think Florida is a little bit more of a surprise. I don't know why anybody thought that they would go with anybody but DeAndre Francois, unless Blackman somehow improved. He took a team that was very talented and went 5-7, or I think they ended up 7-6 because they played. They rescheduled a Hurricane game for against like North Southwest Louisiana State, Bayou, Mexico State type school. And then they won their bowl game against some other no-name Southern Miss or something like that. So they ended up 7-6. So I don't know that you go back to the guy that couldn't lead a top team like Florida State to any wins, to a guy that got blown out 35-3 to Boston College. Felipe Franks, on the other hand, looked really bad last year, but at the same time, he's got the physical talent, Kyle. He's got the arm strength. We saw that when he threw like a 65-yard bomb on a dime against Tennessee for the game-winning touchdown last year. So we know he's got the talent. I just don't know that he has what it takes to in between the ears. I'm not saying he's dumb. I'm just saying so far from last year and the year before, he hasn't had the coaching to teach him what to do. But that's a very fixable thing. So I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, you should be cautiously optimistic, but when both of these teams are starting the same quarterbacks that they started last year and they get the results that they've gotten, it makes me worried. I would say especially Florida. Now, Florida State with the injury, you got to give Francois the reins because, sorry, Blackman was just not effective. But you got Felipe Franks, who I guess you got to give him one more shot. It would make me nervous as a Florida fan to be able to count on this guy to be the starter going in. But let's see what he does. Physical tools don't always equal great play on the field. Now, that Tennessee game, that was a very impressive ending to that game. So that was cool. But let's see what happens. Also, we're talking quarterbacks here.
Well, hold on. I got a text message from Anthony Mack. He just texted in. He said, it doesn't matter if it's Francois or Blackman. Willie T is not a good coach. We're going 4-8. All right. Well, I appreciate you saying that, Mac.
Yeah. Thank you, Anthony Mack, for texting in the text line. We appreciate that 100%. Now, another team that's having a little bit of a quarterback controversy is the Alabama Roll Tide. With the Roll Tide, you have a little bit of no one cares who's at quarterback as long as Nick Saban is coaching, because they're going to win a lot of games no matter who's at quarterback. But with what happened last year in the national championship game, Jalen Hurts underperforming, and then the other guy, Tua, coming in the second half and playing as well as he did, it is a story right now. And I would be concerned on any team, a fan of any team, if right now at this point in the game you do not have a starting quarterback named. But with Nick Saban as coach, it doesn't really matter because this team's going to be so good at every position. They've always had mediocre at best quarterbacks on their team, and they still are able to make an impression and be competitive every year, no matter who is at quarterback.
Yeah, and let's be honest. It's going to be Tua. I don't even know why Nick Saban's playing this game. I like Nick Saban as a head coach. He's the greatest of all time. I respect him. But when it comes to the way that he handles his players, he's the worst. And I just can never stand him. I think he should have been honest with Hurts straight out the gate. I know he's trying to give this facade that there is a competition going on and that he has a chance. But really what he's doing is he's just stringing Hurts along so he doesn't transfer. He's going to announce that Tua is the starter against Louisville, and they're going to move on from there. If it comes out that Hurts is the starter, I think everybody would be shocked to see that happen. So I don't get why he's doing this. I think he's beneath this. But one of the things that stuck out to me yesterday when somebody was talking about, I was listening to sports radio, and I was listening to Tommy Bowden, and he said that it doesn't matter who it is, one of these guys is going to be up for Heisman. And I was like, wait, what? Did he just say that a Saban quarterback will be up for a Heisman? And so it got me discussing with this with my friend Sean, who's an Alabama fan, and he's like, oh, dude, if he's the best player on the best team, he's going to be a Heisman candidate, or he's going to be in the Heisman Trophy hunt. And I'm like, no, like Nick Saban quarterbacks do not win Heisman. So I decided to put a little poll out, and thank you Twitterverse for agreeing with me emphatically. It was like 78 or 80% yes, or sorry, 78 to 80% no. There's no chance any quarterback in Nick Saban's offensive system can win the Heisman Trophy. What do you think?
Okay, so I think we've got two different things here. One, yes, they will be in the Heisman conversation. Best quarterback on best team. I get all that. Two, no, they are not going to win the Heisman. It will be, hey, the fourth or fifth or seventh vote getter in the Heisman will be whatever Alabama quarterback, as long as they perform the way they need to perform. And with the defenses that Nick Saban puts out on the field and the offensive line and the other talent around them, they will be in that conversation. They just will not be 1, 2, or 3. They're going to be at the latter half of that conversation. So, yes, I agree they're going to be in the conversation. And, yes, I agree they will not win the Heisman. I even saw I think it came out from The Score, which is a sports information mecca I check out every once in a while. The Score would put out a top 10 Heisman hopefuls going into the season. And, I didn't see any Alabama quarterbacks on there. So I do agree that, it's probably not likely that either of these guys, especially since neither of them are named, are going to be in that Heisman conversation early, maybe later in the season, depending on how their record is and how well they play. But I also saw Bryce Love was there, number 1. Will Grier was number 2 on this specific article. And out of the top 10, Mackenzie Milton, quarterback of UCF, was not mentioned. So I think there's a lot of disrespect to Mackenzie Milton. We're even talking two guys, we don't even know who is the starter yet, and we're already putting them in a Heisman conversation. This is where the media just gets overblown. Alabama is the media darlings. Everybody likes to talk about them, loves to talk about what is going on in Alabama. But you know what? There is not a real good chance that either of these quarterbacks will be Heisman unless, and this is my big caveat, if Tua can come in and play as good as he did in that second half of the national championship game for the entire season, he could win. But I doubt it. I highly doubt it. But
outside of his 3 touchdown passes, which is amazing, 3 touchdown passes in a half is great. But the rest of his numbers were not that good. He was 14 of 24, which is like around 58% completion percentage. He only threw for 166 yards, which is about 6.9 yards an attempt, which is okay. It's not great. It's not bad. So part of the discussion that I got into with my buddy who's an Alabama fan was that in order to win the Heisman or even be a serious contender for the Heisman, like you said, he might get mentioned in the convo because it's Alabama, and people will say, well, what about Tua? Does he deserve the Heisman because he's on the best team, whatever? But in order to win the Heisman, there's 2 thresholds you got to hit in order to win the Heisman as a quarterback. That's you got to get 4,000 total yards and 35 total touchdowns. If you're not anywhere close to those 2 numbers, at the same time. Like, it's not either or. Like, you have to hit both of those numbers in order to win the Heisman. I look back at all the Heisman winners over the last 10 years that were quarterbacks. You know, Baker Mayfield threw for 4,600 yards. I think, what's his name? Lamar Jackson had over 4,200 yards total. I think he had like 1,600 rushing yards, which is ridiculous for a quarterback. So you got to put up ungodly numbers as a quarterback to win the Heisman. And I don't ever see an Alabama quarterback completing, throwing for and running for 4,000 yards and running for and throwing for 35 total touchdowns.
No, I agree with you. Hey, real quick, I got some breaking news in here. I need to go ahead and break this. Yep, that's the breaking news sound. I need to pick up a little sound effect here. That'll be good. But your voice sound effect is perfect.
It was spot on.
So Starbucks has confirmed that today they are releasing their pumpkin spice latte. Today is pumpkin spice latte day officially. It's been confirmed. Breaking news. It's officially that season.
Did you hear those tires squealing?
Everybody right now turned off the radio, and they're already in line at Starbucks.
Yeah, but
that was the worst thing ever.
The tire squealing that you just heard was Anthony Mack getting in his car and peeling out to Starbucks.
Man, that guy loves pumpkin spice. I don't understand.
He is basic white girl as it gets.
Basically. Basic white girl. All right, everybody. This is the Scout Team. I just want to make sure that we're all interacting with each other. You're listening to us. So make sure you hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter at Scout Team Radio. We love to get interactive. And you are listening to us on 12ouncesportsradio.com or on the TuneIn app. And if you don't catch us live, make sure if tomorrow you're busy in the morning, you have an important business meeting, you can download our podcast. Just search Scout Team Radio on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. You can find us anywhere. We're here. We're everywhere. Make sure you check us out. We want to thank all of our listeners. Yesterday, we had record-breaking numbers for the Scout Team for our debut of our morning show. You guys are awesome. I just want to say, listeners out there, you're awesome. I think so. Chris thinks so. Chris America, he believes that you're awesome. Anthony Mack, he said some terrible things about you. That's why we cut him off the show. But other than that,
just for today, we
love you guys. 1 game suspension. He's basically getting the Urban Meyer treatment, which he deserves. But he'll be back.
Which, to Mack's defense, it was really just he was on his last leg of no pumpkin spice lattes. He's gone since last October without one. So hopefully he'll get one in his system now. He'll be at Starbucks. He'll get his pumpkin spice on, and he'll be back. It's kind of like, you're not you when you're hungry, Snickers commercial. Mac's not him when he's pumpkin spice hungry.
Yeah, no, he is definitely not.
All right, Kyle. Well, we got about 2 minutes to wrap up the show. You mentioned Blake Bortles. I think he's a great Oprah Solid candidate for Wednesday. I kind of wanted to bring this up, but we got off topic and everything, so I wanted to bring it back to his teammate Jaylen Watkins. He's been in the news a lot this summer, talking lots of trash. I don't know if you want to call it talking trash, but he's putting his mouth out there, and I mean he's backed up his mouth with his play the last couple of seasons, and I'm excited to see what he can do, and I'm excited that we have sort of like a new villain, and I like this kind of villain. I'd rather have the villain that talks trash about other players on other teams and then backs it up on the field, rather than a villain that, like Pac-Man Jones, who gets into fights and at strip clubs and stuff like that. So I like this. Do you like the Jaylen Watkins villain character he's been portraying this summer?
I always love a good villain. I think one of the things about Batman that makes Batman so good isn't that Batman is that good. It's that his villains are so great. The Joker, the Penguin, Two-Face, these are iconic villains. You have to have a villain. A villain makes it worth watching. It makes it interesting. I love what Jaylen Watkins is doing. Great job playing the villain. I love it.
And you need a villain that's worth rooting for too. Like a villain you like. Like you don't want to like I said, you don't want a Pac-Man Jones type. You want a Joker. Like part of you was rooting for the Joker. Part of you was like, I kind of agree with the Joker. Like he's winning moral arguments here. Yes, he's a bad guy, but he's an entertaining bad guy, and you like to see him around. So I like it. we talked about OBJ. Week 1, man, that's going to be a hot matchup between the Giants and the Jaguars. Week 1, they play each other. I'm not sure if that's in Jacksonville or New York, but I'm excited to see Jalen Watkins go against the new $95 million man, OBJ.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. And you keep saying Jalen Watkins. I believe you mean Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, Jalen Ramsey. I'm sorry. Jalen Watkins was the wide receiver from Clemson.
Yes. Yeah,
next time I'll say Jalen Rose. I get my Jalen's mixed up.
Yeah, I knew who you were saying, and then you kept saying it, and I'm like, something's not right here. Just something ain't right.
We should all know Chris America is awful with names. So if I ever say your name wrong, don't get offended. I do it to everybody. I couldn't even think of Dante Fowler, a former Gator legend, yesterday morning. So I'm going to drink some 5-Hour Energy and enjoy the rest of my day.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Yeah, don't call me Beard Loud. Call me Loud Beard. That's all I ask. Just stop calling me Beard Loud.
Loud mustache.
Loud mustache. Do not call me that either. All right, guys, thank you all for listening in. It has been a pleasure, like always. We will see you tomorrow morning, and we are out.
Out like trout.